argument is you save more troops in the end. And that idea, end justifies the means, is why all these governments do it. They all do it. It's a fact. Their favorite target, movie theaters. Then they take a mentally ill person with shock therapy and PCP and blame it on them. Now, I've only gone over a small portion of false flags, and I'm going to recap them and then get into some of the other documents I haven't covered yet and some of the newer examples. The government getting the 7-7 guy on the plane. I mean, the list goes on and on. British Special Forces caught in 2006 in Basra, dressed up like Sunnis killing Shiites to get sectarian war going. I mean, it just goes on and on and on and on. The feds cooking the bomb, training the drivers of 2 mentally ill, low-grade morons in the 93 World Trade Center bombing. This is what's frustrating, is they do this over and over again. I haven't even gotten into all the earmarks yet. I haven't even covered the motive of the UN treaty. I haven't really got into that yet in detail. All the calls to restrict our guns now by the White House and others, and all the grandstanding. I haven't gotten into the mind control aspects. I will after we take a bunch of phone calls. But right now, let's talk to Evan in Littleton, Colorado, the site of Columbine and that operation a decade or 13 years ago now. Time just flies. Good to have you on with us on this Sunday. Do you think I should be questioning this when we have known governments that get caught doing this over and over again? Or should I just trust them and turn my guns in?
Neither. You should just go back to sleep. Trust no one except your government. This is ridiculous, Alex. I'm about 4 miles away from Columbine. The first time I read that article about what happened, it screamed of BS. First of all, it's an exit door on the opening night for a very anticipated movie. You know they're going to be pimply-faced high school students making sure nobody sneaks in and that everybody pays and gets their ticket. Somebody had to let that guy in.
No, exactly. I've been to opening nights, and they have people hanging around behind the exit doors. That's well known.
Yep. Second thing. 70 people so far that we know of, 58 wounded, another 12 dead. And the largest magazine that I know of, I have a couple of Glock 9mm. I got the 33-round factory magazine, but
no, they have some hundred. They have some hundred. No, they have some 100-round barrel ones. I've got some. Here's what's happening. They're saying they want to ban the bottom loading. Remember last year they wanted to ban bottom loading shotguns and rifles. The ATF was talking about that. They have barrels, and so they're worried about barrels because that would let us fight back against a military. This is designed for a globalist takeover.
An armed populace is fundamentally incompatible with a police state. That's why they're trying to grab this. And anybody who is in the government, anybody who's in the military, the police, anyone who is for this, you're also for something else. It's a little word we call treason. You need to think very careful about what you are doing here, because this will be the final straw. The American people are not going to take this.
Yeah, I mean, they'll get a bunch of the mall Martians and people that can't talk, glow-in-the-dark folks to turn their guns in if they even have them. But, it doesn't matter. Just because they get a majority of people that want to be slaves and, lick their boots, it isn't going to happen.
Exactly, because what is it, 5 million guns a month they're selling now? Number one reason I don't trust my government?
Well, it got up to 5 million a few months ago, but the biggest manufacturers suspended new orders because they're 6 months to a year behind. So the manufacturers can't keep up.
Right. Well, that's a good sign that people, even if it's a small segment of the population, it was only 5% or something in the Revolutionary War. It was really.
Yeah, it's way more than that. There's probably 25, 30% that are pretty awake, 10% are hardcore awake, 50% are somewhat partially awake. The other 50 literally don't know what planet they're on. I mean, cool. So they're a lot of dangerous folks. Anything else, sir?
Yes, I wanted to just make a real quick, plant a couple of seeds. I don't know if it's stupid or if it's divine inspiration, but it's a couple of topics I'd like you to cover in the upcoming week. Number one is, will there be another false flag at the London Olympics? And then number two, imagine Red Dawn has already happened. You and Jesse, I finally watched that FEMA camp video of Police State. Who's already in there? What if that's an invading force just waiting to come out when the time is right?
It's a good question. Israel says they may have to attack Iran so they don't attack the Olympics. Imagine, we've got to attack Japan so they don't attack the Olympics. We've got to attack because they might attack. I mean, that's what Hitler said. And I'll break down the Olympics coming up. Stay with us.
Radio Network.
Okay, I'm going to go to your phone calls now, and I only got about halfway through the stack of famous false flags that have been totally declassified or partially declassified. There's others like the sinking of the USS Maine to get us into the Spanish-American War, and the head of Hearst Publishing, William Randolph Hearst, told Remington the painter, I don't care if you're not in Cuba. Just give me the pictures, I'll supply the war. That's a famous quote. And they just showed paintings of massacres, that the Spanish were committing massacres against little poor children in Cuba. Just like they said babies were thrown out of incubators by Saddam. Or they say that Syria's committing massacres, and it turns out it's Western-backed al-Qaeda. Because they know you're just halfway paying attention. You turn on the news, and then whatever it says is supposedly true. Oh, a guy dressed up like Ronald McDonald. First, it was a black outfit and black mask, and they thought they were cops. I've got these clips coming up. And tear gas from both sides and multiple shooters. Oh, forget about all that. People saw 4 people at Oklahoma City, and the feds declared national security on the videos, but FBI agent leaked the videos to a federal judge and to the LA Times. They never put the videos out, but said it did show McVeigh with 4 other men. Oh, really? But we're never going to see those surveillance cameras, or if we do, we've all seen Forrest Gump shake hands with President Kennedy, but it wasn't real. We've all seen Yoda fight Emperor Palpatine. It wasn't real. We've all seen King Kong climb up on the Empire State Building. It wasn't real. We've all seen Gandalf fight the Borog. It wasn't real. Okay, we've all seen Lucky Charms dance around the rainbow on TV. It isn't real. Or they could show us some short clip of him there. And usually it's way after. The way they're acting all secret. They have the UN treaty coming up, which was very close to being defeated to put the UN over our guns, and magically this happens. Bill Clinton's trying to extend the assault weapons ban and ban gun shows. The week before the vote, Columbine happens. But remember, it still wasn't enough. Still wasn't enough. Because you know what? If there had been one armed citizen in there, like the Luby's massacre, just like Susanna Hupp, the state rep, has said, she could have saved a lot of people. There was another shooting a few years ago in Colorado where a guy came in a church mad he'd been kicked out. Might have been a real attack because the media wasn't there to jump on it. That's whenever you know it isn't staged. They don't hype it. And a off-duty police officer with another lady doing security who had concealed carry, she ended up shooting the guy, and she was there for security. And that's the only kind of security you want. Is you should have somebody armed at some mega church with thousands of members. You should. In case there's a robbery, whatever. Guns frustrate crime 21 times more often, the Justice Department has to admit, than they're used in the commission of a crime. You got a better chance of being struck by lightning twice in a year than dying in a mass shooting. Look it up in the World Almanac. It is one of the rarest things out there. But none of you are in Colorado, right underneath the military-industrial complex. All right, I covered a lot of this. I'll have to get to more of the history of government-sponsored terror tomorrow because I don't have time to get into British Special Forces caught dressed up as Sunnis killing Shiites and caught. Remember that? BBC, you name it, just type in British soldiers of SRR, get caught trying to stage false flag terror incident. Look up Detroit Free Press. Just type in State Department ordered to get underwear bomber on plane. Oh, yeah, look it up. Just look it up. And then you have to understand who the main suspects are, especially when it's all hyped, when the cops won't tell you what happened, when it's implausible, when the witnesses see multiple shooters. This is a staged event. Okay, let's take a few calls here. I'm going to try to rush through them. Scott in Denver, Colorado. Scott, what's your take on all this?
Alex, this is just another example of how they're taking our rights through these incidents. I'm looking at a half-mast flag right now. So obviously we're catalyzed as a nation, and it's to take our guns. It's to take our guns. It's to take our guns. Everybody wake up.
Well, you're right. And, you know when a Predator drone illegally, and they're in over 12 countries now, and they admit it's illegal under international law and our own law, kills people. They have shed over 200 dead at a wedding, men, women, children, is good if they kill one person they claim is a terrorist. So killing 200 plus men, women, and children is cool. There's no half-mast for that. But and Obama's going, and Bloomberg says ban the guns, and the president of Mexico says ban the guns, and Piers Morgan says ban the guns. I mean, how many times have I said the last few months that they're going to stage a mass shooting, probably at a movie theater or mall? How many times have I said that to get this treaty rammed through?
This is the beginning of it. There's going to be more and more. It's going to be blamed on us, the American people, us patriots.
And they're going to have to put TSA in the malls and in the movie theaters, as they already had promo videos months ago coming out showing them at the malls, and now they're calling for it. That's right. You see all the scripting, all the preparation, and then it rolls out, and they've got a mental patient put on drugs, doesn't even know who he is, they're reporting, flopping around on the ground. Just like 5 years ago when 4 Delta Force groups came back and murdered their families. One of them just went crazy. When the police pulled up, they were flopping around on the ground, spitting. Again, they have devil's breath. They have a whole bunch of drugs they can give somebody, and they can mix it with other drugs where you never even know who you are again. That's how they get the patsy ready. What do you say to that?
I just left China Mart. I bought a bunch more spray paint. I've been continuously bullhorning out of my car. They continue to pull me over, and they can't do anything. I'm going to continue to exercise my rights, and I'm going to tell people about this. Obama is grandstanding. He's politicizing this. He's using this to sign us into this United Nations Global Weapons Treaty. This is it.
And it happened right on time, right on time. God bless you. I mean, come on, folks. Come on. I just read you more than 20 examples of our government and other governments attacking our own ships, you name it, killing our own people, shooting up movie theaters in Europe to blame it on their enemies. I showed you an Army manual where they say, get false flag training. They want our guns. They're criminal. They staged Fast and Furious. It's a false flag. To blame the Second Amendment. That even came out, that it was to blame the Second Amendment. Years after I told you, of course it was for that. And now they're like, we got to do something else. Who do we get? We got this guy drugged up. All right, pull the operation. I mean, that's it. That's what it is. My gut already knew it. It's insane. But I went and researched, and sure enough, it's got all the signs. He may have even been the shooter, but I doubt it. Witnesses said there were multiple guys in there. That's coming up. Let's talk to Chris in Boston. What's your take on this, Chris?
Hey, great job breaking it down. Something real quick I wanted to point out. The media on Friday kept saying that his car had Tennessee license plates, but then the news chopper zoomed in and you could clearly see he had Colorado license plate 119 ROC. What do you make of that?
Well, you notice they're not letting the cops in there with the, quote, booby traps and all that. No one had seen him there. He was all mail orders, like they mail ordered Lee Harvey Oswald's gun to him when you could buy guns anywhere without registration or records back in 1963. I mean, it follows the exact script of a Gladio operation, of a Operation Himmler, of an Operation Ajax. I mean, this is what they do. They shoot up movie theaters. They blow up discotheques. I mean, this is what the globalists do.
When not one single witness has said that they saw the person that was supposedly in the theater and popped the door, not one single person has said that person had red hair or orange hair.
Yeah, they all said it was a guy in black with a mask on, but now we've got Bozo the Clown. It's incredible, sir. What do you think's happening here?
It's absolutely staged right now. I just seen Obama flying in on Air Force One to go pimp out the victims. It's ridiculous. And
anybody who asks why would they stage this or let somebody do this who they've drugged up, well, watch him get a 10 to 15 point bounce out of this. Watch him get the treaty and put us under UN. Watch
it. Everyone that wants to grab guns, so you'd rather wait for someone else to show up with a gun to protect you than protect your own family? Like, good luck with that.
Well, that's another thing. I mean, this was one of the biggest theaters in the Denver area, and those are normally crawling with examples. The government getting the 7-7 guy on the plane. I mean, the list goes on and on. British Special Forces caught in 2006 in Basra, dressed up like Sunnis killing Shiites to get sectarian war going. I mean, it just goes on and on and on and on. The feds cooking the bomb, training the drivers of 2 mentally ill, low-grade morons in the 93 World Trade Center bombing. This is what's frustrating, or 13 years ago now. Time just flies. Good to have you on with us on this Sunday. Do you think I should be questioning this when we have known governments that get caught doing this over and over again? Or should I just trust them and turn my guns in?
Neither. You should just go back to sleep, trust no one except your government. This is ridiculous, Alex. I'm about 4 miles away from Columbine. The first time I read that article about what happened, it screamed of...
Argument is you save more troops in the end. And that idea, end justifies the means, is why all these governments do it. They all do it. It's a fact. Their favorite target, movie theaters. Then they take a mentally ill person with shock therapy and PCP and blame it on them. I've only gone over a small portion of false flags, and I'm going to recap them and then get into some of the other documents I haven't covered yet and some of the newer. Frustrating is they do this over and over again. I haven't even gotten into all the earmarks yet. I haven't even covered the motive of the UN treaty. I haven't really got into that yet in detail. All the calls to restrict our guns now by the White House and others. And all the grandstanding. I haven't gotten into the mind control aspects. I will after we take a bunch of phone calls. But right now, let's talk to Evan in Littleton, Colorado, the site of Columbine and that operation.
Yes. First of all, it's an exit door on the opening night for a very anticipated movie. You know they're going to be pimply-faced high school students making sure nobody sneaks in and that everybody pays and gets their ticket. Somebody had to let that guy in.
No, exactly. I've been to opening nights, and they have people hanging around behind the exit doors. That's well known.
Yep. Second thing, 70 people so far that we know of, 58 wounded, another 12 dead. And the largest magazine that I know of, I have a couple of Glock